One of the hardest realities about love that we have to embrace is that love and grief come together. Now, I'm not trying to be negative here or put a downer to your day, but just offer in today's word vitamin, because it's called the price, that once we make peace with the price of love, knowing that grief will be a part of the deal, we can actually then survive. We can not just survive, we can thrive and process. Now, hot and cold, night and day, love and grief, love and pain go together, because when we are growing, we've got to evolve and let go of the past and create the new. And grief is all about processing loss. Now, just as a mother, we know that, I loved breastfeeding my children. When I stopped, there was a grief. When your children go to school, when your children leave the nest and become adults, there's a grief. And we've got to learn to surf that grief and process that grief so we can actually then embrace the new chapter. Many of us are frightened of grief, and if the price of love is grief and you want no grief, well, you're destined to have superficial relationships, and they end up being quite unrewarding long term. But if you learn how to surf your grief and process your grief and accept that it's a part of the equation, not a big part, but it's certainly a part of the equation, and it's worth it, we get less frightened of relationships and vulnerability. So in today's word vitamin, I've got 10 little dot points to help you or anybody you might know in processing grief, because the saying that you just got to give it time is actually a myth. If you want to get emotionally fit and process grief, it's no different to getting physically fit. You don't just show up at a gym if you want to get physically fit and give it time. You show at a gym and you work out. If you want to get emotionally fit and process through your grief and your loss so you can actually clear away the rubble of the past and make way for the new, you've got to work out. You've got to emotionally process and release. And so these 10 little dot points might be helpful if you're having problems with grief and you're stuck in flight, fight or freeze, because anger and sadness are fight and flight, and a lot of people stay in denial, which is the freeze, because they don't know how to move through grief. And once we learn how to move through grief, we can then relax and enjoy the fullness of a relationship, knowing that, it's that old saying, is it better to have loved than lost, loved and lost than to not have loved at all. And for most of us that have had deep loves, whether it's with a parent or a sibling or a lover that no longer exists because they've died or they've moved on, those life lessons are priceless. What does Bob Marley say? No woman, no cry. But the tears are where we learn and we grow. And anyway, food for thought. Mwah, lots of love. Hope it's useful. See you tomorrow. Bye.